I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma in March of 2021 after breaking my leg. I broke my fibula and I ended up having a tumor there, which was Ewing's. Ewing's is a cancer of the bone, and the treatment requires a pretty intense chemotherapy regimen. How that impacted my family was pretty intense in the beginning. I was helping my son at a barn that he rides at. Often I was active with my children. We went on walks, and I didn't ever really come down with even a common cold. So relatively in my children's eyes, I was healthy. And then I was as sick as I've ever been, hopefully as I will never be that sick again. But it really impacted my children because I went from healthy to having very low blood counts and all of the other issues that came along with chemo, such as nausea or stomach GI issues. It impacted my kids to see that a transition from shoveling snow the day I broke my leg to being unable to walk across the room. When I was sharing the news with my kids about cancer, I knew that the treatment was going to put us in a position that was really difficult. So I wanted to be upfront with my kids and I didn't want to scare them. We sat down for dinner and I told them, they knew I had cancer at that point, but I have to go through chemo and chemo is going to make me very ill. And when I do look sick and when I am sick, that means that the chemo is working. And while I didn't know at that point if chemo actually would work, I was hopeful, and I just hoped that I did not make a liar out of myself and that it actually did work, which it did, thankfully. But I really just wanted them to be aware that this is going to happen, but it doesn't mean that it's something that should be scary. It means that it's working and it's doing its job and it's killing all of the cells in hopes that it would kill the cancerous cells, which helped because after my first chemo round, I came home and I was very nauseous. I was extremely ill for a couple of days after, and I remember my kids, they were their faces lit up and they just looked at me and said, "Mom, chemo's working." It reminded me that it was doing what it should have been doing, which is killing the cancer, but also having some side effects. It was scary, and I talked about how scared I was at times, and I talked about how I hated chemo. And one time we were at the park and my daughter was playing with another child there who she didn't know, but they looked at me and I was in a wheelchair and bald and definitely looked different than most at that point in my life. And my daughter just so quickly said, "Oh, that's my mom. She has cancer, she's in chemo, but she hates chemo." And at that point it was really difficult because I knew that I was talking and they heard and they knew. It was really difficult to hear my child reiterate what I had been saying for a couple of months and really trying to negate some of that. And I was trying to be so cautious to not let them know I hated it, but they knew, and that was really difficult. There's a wealth of resources, and I think there's different ones for different health concerns. So there are cancer support groups at different oncology centers. I think another big piece that was really helpful is that I leaned into the school system and my daughter's childcare center, so everyone was aware of what I was going through and they were able to support my kids while they were at school. In fact, after surgery, my daughter's classroom drew me a get well card, and that was probably my favorite card that I received throughout the whole treatment. And I received a lot of cards, and that one was the best to see all of the kids with their hand. They wrote their names on their own, they drew. It was really sweet. And then my son's school, that was really important because his teacher was involved and a lot of people were there to support him while he was having challenging times at school. Also, there are camps. So for kids with parents who have cancer, there is Camp Kesem that my son was part of, and that was a wonderful resource as well. On June 9th, it will be 1 year that I have no evidence of